speak about the rule of law. I've given you about the rule of law. So how do we make sure that the rule of law actually exists in every system? We want to make sure that the integrity of all the institutions within the society, that's got to remain intact. So we talk about the judiciary, with the lawyers, and when we talk about the lawyers, not just the private practitioners, but also those who are working in the Attorney General's chambers, and of course the police. So when you have the entire administration of justice working independently and carrying out their scope properly, then you will have the integrity of the system within the society. Most of us don't realize it, how much the law actually affects us and lead our lives daily. If you so much as go to work, even work by itself, the laws are in place in order to protect you. You have the employment laws, you have the labor laws. If you so much as receive inoculation on you, then you have the medical laws and health laws. If the children they are abused and there's violation, then you have the Children's Rights and Protection of the Child Act or the Domestic Violence Act. If you go to court, then there are procedures about fair trial. If you receive one of those annoying calls over your smartphone, and I'm quite sure each and every one of you have received them, all right? Somebody trying to sell you a certain package, right? There are actually laws to protect you from that as well. We call that the PDPA, the Personal Data Protection Act, right? If you post a letter, even the posting of a letter actually involves the law. So, the law, it is all around you. Every time you wake up from sleep, from the time you wake up right until the time you sleep, the law is there to be with you and to protect you. Right? So for me, the rule of law, very, very important. And I'm taking you through several examples on the global peace front. I'm going to talk about two things. One is about the Nuremberg trial, and the other one is about the Hague trial. In the Nuremberg trial, after the World War II, the Allies, which is consisting of US, UK, Russia, and France, they came together and they established the International Military Tribunal. And in this tribunal, what they did is that they put to trial 23 political and military leaders of the Nazi regime. And the whole idea of them doing that is so that they can come up with certain principles as far as war crimes are concerned. They want to decide on violation of international laws and also crimes against peace. So you see, even in that kind of situation, you're talking about crimes against peace. So the successful legacy of the Nuremberg trial is the fact that you come up with the United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights of 1948. You also come up with a permanent establishment of the International Criminal Court. But this is something that has happened after the war. To me, if I were to actually talk about a more successful trial, it would be the Hague trial of 1995, because it is the implementation and the signing of a treaty before any war has actually occurred. And the Hague trial is initiated by doctors and lawyers against the use of nuclear weapons for wars. And as a result of this trial, we have the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty of 1968. So this really sets down the entire legacy about 190 nations who signed the treaty to say, okay, let's not use nuclear. Okay, let's use nuclear for peaceful purposes. So Nuremberg trial, Hague trial, these two things on the global front, they all talk about one thing, which is to move forward in order to achieve global peace. Right? Now, I bring you back to the national front. At the national front, we have the KL War Crimes Tribunal. Right? The KL War Crimes Tribunal had two trials, one in 2011 and the other one on 2013. The one in 2011 was to put George Bush as well as Tony Blair, conviction, for unlawful invasion into Iraq, right? So you heard my fellow panelists just now spoke about the weapons of mass destruction. You know, where is this weapons of mass destruction? And there was no evidence of it whatsoever. And well, that's the entire purpose of that particular trial in 2011. It was actually to put George Bush as well as Tony Blair into a trial to decide on their fate. How come they invaded into Iraq? In 2013, it was on Amos Yaron, on a general from the state of Israel, for the genocide of the Palestinians. So, you know, back to our National Front, we find that we also have certain systems in place in order for us to try and achieve peace, in order for us to decide on violations of international laws and also crimes against the peace. We also have domestic laws. And this is very interesting, of course, to all of you all, because, you know, we all close, it's close to all our hearts. We talk about the Peaceful Assembly Act, right? Peaceful Assembly Act, it's all about the peace. So you can have the right to assemble, but you must do it peacefully. You have the right to go for a rally, but it has to be without arms. So you see that the principles of peace are actually adopted within the law because you want to see that the nation as itself go on with our lives in a very peaceful manner, right? Then we have the other domestic law. We talk about the Section 124B of the Penal Code. It's very popular now. Everybody's talking about it. You speak of an offense about toppling the parliamentary democracy, right? Is it as easy as just uttering a statement and therefore it is an attempt to topple parliamentary democracy? Well, you know, if we read the provisions of Section 124B of the Penal Code, it goes on further to say that it becomes an offense only if it is done in a violent manner. So again, we talk about peace, you know, things have got to be done in a very peaceful manner. And we talk about Section 124B in terms of it being carried out in an unconstitutional manner. So if you are attending a rally and having a rally, the right to assemble is something which is within the Constitution, that is not unconstitutional, right? So peace, it's everywhere in the law. It is something which is which you can find in the rule of law, which is why, to me, if there is one thing I think you need to take home, is to uphold this rule of law, because without the rule of law, there is no peace. If you don't have the rule of law, the peace index within the country goes down. And I'll tell you why, before I conclude, why I say that the peace index goes down. I know you can't read here, don't speak. But, you know, just one last little note. How peaceful are we? Let me ask you this question. How peaceful are we in Malaysia? Can you rate peace? Well, you know, you can. And the Global Peace Index, it goes around to every country, and it rates the countries as far as how peaceful it is. In 2011, Malaysia was known as the most peaceful country in Southeast Asia. 2011, that was 4 years ago, right? Within the context of the world, we were ranked 19th most peaceful country out of 153 countries. That was 4 years ago, right? In 2013, moving forward, fast forward that 2 years, okay? In 2013, we dropped from 19th in 153 countries to number 47th. I'm not sure where we are now in 2015. I don't think the results are out yet. But some of the things which was explained by the Global Peace Index Forum, factors affecting national peace includes the following: the security within the society, how high is our crime index, okay? The extent of external and political conflict, what is the level at the moment? The extent of violation of human rights. These are all about rule of law issues. The level of education within the country, the level of corruption, the level of abuse of power, and of course, sound business environment. These are all factors which is supposed to affect the peace in the country. Now, I've mentioned all those things to you. I think it strikes a certain issue in your heart. You know where I'm going, you know what I'm saying, which is why take back with you about upholding the principles of law, rule of law. Because without the rule of law, we cannot achieve peace within the country.